I'd never wanted to start this project like this. I mean, for a start, I'm using a webcam to record, whereas I would have much rather liked to use my actual camera, but my actual camera is not here right now, which is sort of a problem when it comes to using it. This is warmer than average. I'm Alex, and I will be hosting this thing, whatever it is, as we move forward. I have had a very traumatic start to the year, so this is not how I would have liked to have begun this at all. In fact, right now I have no idea what I'm doing or why I'm here talking to you at almost 6 a.m. German time. Yeah, Germany. I'm not German, I'm English, but I live in Germany, Bremen to be specific. I moved here nearly 2 years ago in May of 2018, and my German's still not that good. I'm still learning, so I don't have a lot of confidence in going out and meeting people and expressing my ideas with them, because I can hold very basic conversations in German, but I cannot discuss anything to the extent in which I would like. And when it comes to politics and philosophy, both of which I am totally underread on, I just cannot discuss in German. I can discuss in English. Whether my opinions are of worth is probably up to you to decide rather than me. But here I am, giving it a go. This hasn't been an easy process. 2020 has been the roughest start to a year I've had in living memory, as far as I can remember. And to be honest, my memory isn't that good. So it could be that I've had worse starts to the year than this. But I can't remember starting a year worse than this. I'm currently alone in this apartment, which is unusual because I do live with someone. But my partner's mother recently suffered a brain injury and is in intensive care. And so my partner had to fly back to India, which is her home country, to be with her family. Now, I mean, I'm also going out there shortly on the 8th of February, and I'll be there for 20 days. And I cannot wait at this point, because the world is a cruel place. And I miss being able to have someone to hold, which is a simple pleasure, a very simple pleasure. But when you're alone, it takes root very quickly how different it is to having someone. And when you know you still have someone, but they're just 5,000 miles away, now that's a different story, because you're just waiting. And I am just waiting, and I will be there at some point. I wanted to start this channel because I don't have the confidence to express my ideas in German. And I figured the wider the outreach, the better. And what wider an outreach is there right now than YouTube? And it may mean that I have to go from this, and by this I mean greasy hair, pajamas, 5:53 a.m., rambling about absolutely nothing, to perhaps one day actually knowing what I'm doing and building on this and creating better content, whether that's through editing or writing or playing about with things until the aesthetic just seems about right. Because aesthetic is important. Not the most important thing, but I do think that aesthetics are important. And I know I may look good for 6 a.m. Greasy hair and pajamas that my mother lovingly gave me this Christmas. These are new pajamas. And I think if the camera quality were good enough, if I did have an actual camera and I wasn't relying on a webcam, you could see that this top is it's kind of like the night sky. There's lots of little white it looks like stars. It's very pretty. I quite like it. But the pants are tartan. So tartan and stars. Timeless combination. I'm here with my fake fireplace, which is a lovely backdrop. And from the moment I came into this apartment, before we moved in, I saw the fireplace and I was like, oh, that's a beautiful backdrop. I can use that. Now I am using it. Honestly, I just want to be able to talk about the things that interest me. And a lot of things interest me, though I have very few obsessions. And this is the raw, unfiltered first video. I did have a script, but I've decided to fuck the script. Because the script is a little bit pretentious, and as much as it is honest, es tut mir leid. It is not genuine. Because genuine is me deciding to make a video out of the blue and recording something like this, whereas honesty is just the ability to say things that are true or that have truth to them. Now, it may be true that I am a political person. It may be true that I'm a working class Northern English something that grew up in not poverty. Poverty is too strong of a word. I didn't really grow up in poverty, but if anything went wrong, my parents didn't have the money to stop it going wrong is a good way to put it, I suppose. My family is all Scouse, which I'll not inflict on you right now, but it can pull off a variety of realistic and unrealistic Scouse accents. My hometown, you get a lot of unrealistic Scouse accents because they think that sounding like they're from Liverpool means that they're tough. Or at least that's what I thought back when I lived there, and I haven't lived in my hometown for 6 years now. I've spent almost 2 years here in Germany. Before that, I spent about 4 years in Newcastle, and before that, I was at home for a while, and I was very low, and I was addicted to video games. Hashtag gamer, hashtag we live in a society. I promise I will never make that joke again as long as I live, because it's overplayed at this point. Like, I mean, come on, all you have to do is copy whatever memes are on the internet and people think you're in tune with current society, or you're in tune with what's going on in the internet realm. But I feel like in order to know what's going on in the internet realm, you have to be in a lot of different places. It used to be that you only had to be in a couple of different places, but the internet's gotten much, much more complicated over the years, and it's no longer enough to just occasionally browse 4chan and pretend that you know everything. And I did browse 4chan for quite some time, from the age of 15 to 21. I'm now 25. I did browse it I think on and off until I was about 22, 22 and a half. But there's only so much you can take when your ideology directly opposes that of the average 4chaner. Not that I have anything against the ideology of an average 4chaner, provided they, keep it to themselves. Who needs more of that in the world? We don't. No one. No one needs more of that in the world. That burnt. This cheap ass rum is not very good for my esophagus, or my stomach for that matter. You can't go half a foot along this body without running into a problem. Which is a shame, because I don't mind this body that much. I look at it sometimes and I think, hey, that isn't the person I want people to see. And then sometimes I look at it and I go, hey, that is exactly the person I want people to see. Good job. There's only so much you can do to change people's perception of you without overhauling your appearance, completely reinventing your aesthetic, and reimagining your personality from the ground up. But we don't need to do that. What we do is, every time you meet a new person, you present yourself as the person you want to be to them, and then you just gradually stop talking to the people you met a long time ago who met the person you were a long time ago, and you spend more time with the people who you have been honest with currently, until you're no longer being honest with them because you've evolved past their level or their perception. But I don't know. It all seems a little suspicious to me. Because I look at myself and I think, damn, you made it this far. You moved to another country, you have a partner, you had a job, you quit your job for this, you quit your job to do YouTube, and this is the first video you're doing after a month and a half of not having a job. And you're not even following your script, you're ad-libbing, you're making it up on the spot, you're bullshitting. It's 6 a.m. and you're drinking rum and talking to yourself. That is what you quit your job for. And so I turn to myself and I go, yeah, that is what I quit my job for. What the fuck are you going to say about it? More rum. I'm not romanticizing the consumption of alcohol, by the way. I do not condone drinking straight rum from the bottle. It's not very enjoyable, to be honest. I just can't sleep. I've had a very traumatic start to the year. I wish I could elaborate on some of that, but perhaps in another video I can explore more themes. Right now I'm just getting to grips with how I look on camera, to be honest. Next will come the lighting, the direction, the self-direction. The accents, the characters, the makeup, the costume. All of which I would like to explore, because there's only so much you can do with speaking at a camera. Like, there has to be some layer on top of it. There has to be some unique selling point. And unfortunately, the unique selling point that I'm going for has already been done by pretty much everyone, because everyone has pretty much done everything by now. If there's anything that you find that hasn't been done, well, you're lucky. I'm not an actor. I'm just a person. In the loosest sense of the word, I am a person. And all I want is to be able to express myself on a platform where other people can tell me to fuck off and tell me that my opinion isn't worth shit and that I'm a terrible person and that they would rather see me dead than see me in the streets. So, you know, we all have our vices. And as a kind of shy, I don't know if shy is the word, I just don't function particularly well in some social situations. Yeah, I can appear relatively confident when I'm here on my own doing absolutely nothing. Because this is my house. And if one cannot be comfortable in one's house, where can one be comfortable? Perhaps nowhere. I just wish that this world could be a little bit more lenient. And by lenient, I don't know how I want to define that right now even. I just wish people had more freedom to pursue what they wanted to pursue, to explore the boundaries of their intellect and their curiosity. Because what bad could come from an educated populace, other than rejecting capitalism, which is bad for capitalists? Is that too political for a first video, or does that get my agenda off the ground and now you know? Can label me a communist and be done with it. So long. This channel isn't for you. He said something bad about capitalism, therefore he must be a terrible person. He must want authoritarianism. And I don't. I'm very anti-authority. Anyone who thinks they know better than people is anti-authority. And I obviously think I know better than people, or I wouldn't be trying to put my opinions on the internet, right? And opinions on the internet are indelible. They make an impression. They stay there. You can take your video down, but it's gonna be there somewhere on the internet. Someone's gonna have it. Someone's gonna have this. Someone's gonna have this first video of me, greasy hair, warts and all, sat talking at a camera for 20 minutes about absolutely fucking nothing. Is that what you want? Because it's here. Feel free to save. Save the video, download it. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. We're all good here. We're all friends here. If we can't all be friends, then, you know, society ain't gonna work. But when did society work anyway for anyone? Well, it works for some people. For anyone on the lower end of the spectrum. Because fuck, I have not been given a break. And I know everyone out there, you've also not been given a break. No one's been given a fucking break. We are people. I'm a person without brakes. You are people without brakes. I'm almost out of rum. And when I started trying to do this, I had a reasonable amount of rum left. Now I have not very much rum left. Es ist fast leer. Leer. Rather. I don't know rather in German, which is a shame. Because I like the word rather. But I will end this as I intended to end it, which is that I will read a poem. I don't know what poem. Let's have a look. I'll pick somewhat at random. Oh. Okay. Randomly selected one of my favorite poems. And by favorite, I mean favorite out of the ones that I've written myself, so that's sort of tooting my own horn. But I'm sorry for that. I apologize. I have one last. Und jetzt, my poem. This is called The Rebel. And I suppose if this is a... If this is a signifier of my... Yeah, for anyone out there who's into that, just keep watching. For a signifier of my lifestyle, my ideology, this is actually the best poem that I could have randomly selected. Better than the other attempts, for sure. This is called The Rebel. We live in an age of quiet, told by everything surrounding us that we are being ourselves too loudly, when these people have seen worse and should know better. What seems to them a fledgling revolution is merely a bubbling rebellion, which may not burst forth yet, not for quite some time. As we are told, don't do it that way, you'll never make a dime, by the self-proclaimed time travelers who cannot grasp the nature of rebellion, despite having lived through it, and despite being swaddled in it. Now it seems we are socialized too well to believe violence at all worth the ends, desperate to fight but unable to conquer, self-arresting anxieties of global judgment. Now that globalization has killed revolution, or violent revolution, at least here in our kingdom of glorious westernization, we no longer possess power of solitude, cannot mind our own business for long. Swift intervention is all too inevitable. Submit then we must to the throngs of political power, of fear of reprisal, and wait in the wings and remain. Little by little, circle by circle, revolve with minutiae of change. But perhaps after all there'll be riots, and perhaps when it boils there'll be blood. For to bewilder the skeptics, we'll march through the fire, no more shall we toil in the mud. So call it regressive, uncivil and fickle, remind us again you know best. Hope that your caution sees us beat a retreat, that what will pass is removed from the rest. A final reminder, it's happened before, then the circle is still incomplete. So we'll bend, but not break, for in our soul lays a rebel, who you'll never find knelt at your feet. This has been Warmer Than Average. Alex, signing off.